Hello and welcome to today's presentation, SAP Integration, Engineering Data Along the Value Chain. Have you ever asked yourself how you could easily push your product data from CAD into the downstream processes, just like manufacturing or purchasing or even sales or service? If this is the case, then this is the right presentation for you, so stay tuned. My name is Felix Finster and I'm a pre-sales consultant with CIDEON, and we are committed to helping you putting more process efficiency into your value chain. So I have promised that this will be about process efficiency, but just like the example that we have seen today, this is not the only case that we want to talk about today. So process efficiency, of course, is a very important thing, but there's even more to come. So just think of topics like innovation that is going on, but we will come to this in a few moments. Before we start, I would like to invite you that if you have any questions, just feel free to push them into the chat panel so that we can ask them after this presentation. Now let's get started. Everybody is talking about digitalization today. Things are going around like Internet of Things, predictive maintenance, big data, analytics, how can you track your product in the field to establish a real and true PLM story. Now this is exactly what SAP Leonardo is helping you with. So if you are interested in innovation about your product, then SAP Leonardo is definitely something worth to look at. Now the point is that if you want to achieve this, you have to have a real basis for that. Process efficiency, just as I have mentioned, is achieved by systems like SAP ERP. So this is where your processes are running in, such as manufacturing, purchasing, service requests and stuff like that. However, if you want to incorporate engineering data, as you can see on the slide, then it's all about how can I integrate my engineering into this entire value chain. This is exactly what we want to help you with. And this is exactly the case why we say, if you want to go to boost your whole PLM story, so track the product lifecycle through the entire value chain, then the integration of engineering data, so your mechanical or electrical CAD, this is exactly what we want to do here. So what is this all about? Integrating engineering into the value chain means a lot of benefits for the entire company. Just think of different departments and disciplines that are really making use of this engineering data. Manufacturing needs this information in order to assemble the product or to create and to build a certain product. Then service needs certain instructions when it comes about to like what is the certain service stage of this product or what is necessary to replace certain spare parts. Purchasing needs this information in order to send out RFQs, for instance. So as you can see, the entire technical documentation and all the documents that you create in CAD are really necessary throughout the entire value chain. By incorporating this and directly connecting engineering with the value chain, you can gain certain advantages. So for example, we have less redundancies and we have less effort in the whole coordination because everything is integrated into one single source of truth, which results in benefits like unnecessary costs are avoided. And for example, additional effort that you have with additional systems, this is also reduced, if not even eliminated. And hence, resources can be used more efficiently. Just for example, people have just more time to focus on the real value-added tasks, like being innovative, having new products created, and things like that. So that being said, how can this be achieved with the SAP story here? What we would like to show you is that when you are dealing with CAD systems, so for example authoring systems and mechanical and electrical CAD, just like you can see on the right hand side, we can for instance say there's a bunch of CAD systems just right here, or even that you can see the electrical CAD. This is where you do your real innovative work. Right? Your design work, you create articles, you create bombs there, anything that is necessary in order to maybe assemble a product. However, this information somehow needs to go into the system where the whole downstream processes take place, right? So manufacturing relies on that information, as we have said. Now the question is, how can we bring those two together in a very easy and seamless way? The answer for this is the SAP Engineering Control Center. What is this? It's a user interface for the designer in order to easily incorporate all the necessary data that were created in CAD systems into the downstream processes. Here, it's the SAP system. And with an additional connection, it basically takes care of all the relevant information that is being created in the corresponding CAD authoring systems. So think of you have created a document structure, you've created product structure in the CAD system, and now want to hand this over into the downstream processes. This is exactly where the CAD integration will help you with, and in a very automated way, so that you don't have to take care of any kind of complicated import and export functionalities. No, this is really integrated, this is real time, and this is really beneficial for the entire value chain. And one of the points that I don't want to leave out here is that this comes from one single supplier, because it's one single solution from the biggest software manufacturer in Germany, and that's called SAP. So there is no trickling around with different solutions, different isolated systems. No, this is one single source of truth here. Now that being said, like from the architectural perspective, how does this look like for the end user, for you as an engineer? You can see on the right-hand side that there is a screenshot of the user interface itself. The user interface itself is meant to be very easy to use. So for example, we have folder structures. So if you know how to use the Windows Explorer, this is very familiar to you then. But also, as you can see here, we have possibilities like visual navigation. That means if I have 3D structures, I can really dive into my product and have visual navigation here, which is, by the way, not only relevant for the engineering, it also is available for all the downstream processes. So that means that you can easily push this into service departments, that they can also get this visual view on the 3D structure of a particular product to easily navigate into this with augmented reality and things like that. This is a very interesting use case that you can also consider as for SAP Leonardo, just to build the bridge again. Furthermore, and this is now also an important way, is that in this application you can also integrate more information from the ERP landscape. So let's say you are interested in how are different information from the ERP related to my product. So what kind of bill of materials are present there? What kind of article information is present there? Are there any relevant sales orders out? Maybe we have change management where different disciplines are connected with. Instead of having this in isolated worlds, it's all now integrated into one user interface, right on your fingertips. And of course, we don't want to forget the CAD side here. By having this one user interface for managing all your relevant data, here it's the other way around, that you go into your CAD application, really the environment where everything is taking place and you are doing your design work. We have also integrated the functionality to manage your CAD data into the authoring system itself. And this is in a very convenient way, as you can see, because it's not like an artificial way how we have done this. It's really the way how it integrates smoothly into the entire user interface. And this enables you like executing the most important functionality in terms of data management here. And maybe if you look closely enough, then you can see that for the E-plan, you have, for example, one entry that lets you derive bill of materials. Coming back to the point in the beginning, if you're struggling with handing over bill of material information from E-plan into the ERP landscape, then this is exactly something that could really help you with. Just as mentioned, there's even more, not even just handing over bill of materials, there's also metadata synchronization. There's the maintenance of all the product structures. And furthermore, like additional comfortable like functionality like creating neutral formats, for instance. So this is all what you can get by a single CAD integration here. Now, when we talk about end users, of course, on the other hand side, you also want to know what is in for me when it comes to this whole strategic aspect. This is exactly what I want to look at now. So for instance, when you decide for a solution like that, you want to be sure that your investment is protected and that you get more benefits for the entire company. This is exactly what I want to show you here. With the SAP Engineering Control Center, you decide really for a scalable landscape because it's built on SAP technology, right? So the objects, the architecture, everything that is below is actually SAP. And believe it or not, SAP comes with a built-in document management system. So you don't even need an additional document management system aside from that with complicated synchronization in between. This is all in one single solution. With having one single solution, of course, there are even other benefits that come to play. So for instance, you don't have to take care about additional customizing, you don't have any redundancy, you don't have to learn an additional landscape, how to administrate this. You can really leverage all the customizing, like authorizations, for instance, that you have done in SAP so far to directly use this in conjunction with the SAP and the engineering landscape. And of course, protected investment. You are dealing with a solution from Germany's biggest software supplier, and this is exactly that makes this whole solution future-proof. So that means your investment is protected, you're building on a product that is inside the SAP portfolio, and of course then is also maintained and continuously improved. Not talking about the feasibility for future improvements, just think of any kind of, let's say, cloud solutions or let's say, future improvements in terms of Industry 4.0 scenarios. Summing up this entire presentation, I would just like to emphasize that what we have seen today is not only just another user interface. In conjunction with the SAP landscape, you will gain a lot more here, and this is exactly process efficiency that also makes you ready for future improvements to make real interesting, for example, Industry 4.0 scenarios. So for example, if you want to enable your products to be ready to have an IoT story, then you can set the basis by incorporating all the necessary data that is designed for a digital twin by using the CAD integration here. And coming back to the process efficiency, of course, what we want you to do is that you can focus on your real innovative work. Right? We don't want additional effort here. We don't want unnecessary effort that you spend by searching for things, that you have switched to systems, that you have to have additional waiting time, synchronization effort and things like that. No, this is all done with one integrated solution here. So this is exactly that we want to bring you as a benefit. And if you are interested to learn more, then I would heartily invite you to our software demo or come to our virtual booth. Or you can also get in touch with us directly. Just visit us at our website, www.cideon.com, or just send us directly a mail at info@cideon.com. With that, I would like to thank you for your attention and point you to our invitation that we set on the beginning, that you are heartily invited to send us your questions so that we can answer them now in our chat, if you would like. So you can see here, there are no questions in the chat so far. So then I would like to use the chance to maybe give you some additional information that we have, or what we are usually being asked for. And this is, for example, okay, the Engineering Control Center looks nice. It's very a nice user interface for document handling. But is it really necessary that I have a CAD system connected to that? And the answer is no. The Engineering Control Center is also designed to work without CAD. So that means if you have like departments, if you have people in your company dealing a lot with documents and document management, then it's really worth to consider looking at the Engineering Control Center as a user interface for them as well. A second thing that I would like to point out is when it comes to SAP, usually we get the question like, is it always necessary when I deal with CAD integration and I want to store CAD data? I have heard that SAP is always very material driven. Is it really necessary to create materials right from the beginning? No, you don't have to. You can really use the SAP document management system for pure document administration. There is no need to create materials right from the beginning, so you can easily have this in a pure, let's say, prototyping way, where you just store your designs, and whenever you feel free to put them into the manufacturing and the downstream processes, just hand them over by creating materials for them. So very flexible solution here. The last thing that I would like to hand over to you is the answer to a question that we are often being asked is like, where are my files stored? Like we are a very international company, we have different sites in the world. So how can it be done that we have a very smooth transfer of the files so that everybody can take the files whenever they need? Now the SAP architecture allows for a very scalable setup of your entire infrastructure. So that means especially if you have multiple sites, you can really deploy different kind of so-called file servers or content servers. And with that, you have the possibility to seamlessly switch between different lines so that you can easily transfer the files between different sites and also maintain the corresponding performance by adding additional cache servers so that everybody has the possibility to access the files whenever they need, where they need them, in like very good performance. So far to my presentation here and also to the questions. And so, oh, there's one more left. Has the SAP been customized to switchgear industry? So the question is the SAP been customized to switchgear industry? The point is that SAP itself is basically a system that is designed to support any kind of industry. So because it can focus on certain or all the kinds of aspects that can happen in a company. So for example, starting from HR to FI and things like that, but also covering the logistic processes. So not only the logistic process in terms of discrete industry, but also recipe industry and recipe development. And talking about this, from that point, of course, I would say, yes, it would be designed for that kind of industry, but it also depends on that kind of customizing that you set into your system, because typically you can say it's really designed for your specific needs. There are a lot of flexibility inside there, and it's just necessary to say, what are our processes? What is our requirement? What do we want to achieve? What is our USP that we want to transfer into that system? For example, that we have a certain process that we want to put into there. Good, so if there are no more questions left, then I would like to say thank you again, and I hope to see you in one of our booths and enjoy the rest of the fair.